The high-level pitch for Apple's iPhone 16 is pretty clear this year. These are their first smartphones designed from the ground up and built for AI. And while they look pretty visually similar to the year before, there are some big advancements for the camera, a massive jump with battery life, and some really nice refinements that Apple barely talked about that I think make these some of the most interesting iPhones they've ever released. So today I want to do a full comparison between the two lower-end iPhone 16 models and two higher-end iPhone 16 Pros, as while there are a lot of shared similarities, there's also some really unique changes that Apple hasn't really talked about. Beginning with the aesthetics, the lower-end iPhone 16 absolutely looks the most different. There's a completely revamped color palette with some bright and vibrant options, like a brand new pink color that I think people are going to absolutely love, as well as a nice blue and aquamarine option, plus the standard white and black. But it's really on the back that the biggest change is visible, with a new vertically designed camera system that feels reminiscent of the 2017 iPhone 10. On the other hand, the iPhone 16 Pro design is much more muted, considering that the colors are basically the same aside from a new gold desert titanium color option, but even the camera setup on the back is the same triple camera layout that we've had for as long as I can remember. On the front though are some bigger changes. The screens are the largest they have ever been on the iPhone, increasing 0.2 inches on both model up to 6.3 and 6.9 inches. And on top of the larger displays, Apple also made the bezels a lot thinner on the Pros. So the displays simply look almost edge to edge, and they are the thinnest bezels on any smartphone ever made. They're also Apple's best displays as they support the 120Hz Pro Motion refresh rate for that super smooth animation. On the base iPhone 16s, they're smaller at 6.1 and 6.7 inches and still locked at a 60Hz refresh rate. So yet another year of 60Hz on the base iPhone 16s. That being said, all iPhone 16 displays have Apple's strongest glass that they have ever put in an iPhone, and they say it's 2 times tougher than the glass on any other smartphone. So I'm very interested to see how that holds up durability wise. And make sure you hit that subscribe button in case you haven't already for more videos on the iPhone 16. The Pro models are also again made out of titanium this year, which is a significantly more premium material than aluminum, although a bit heavier, as Apple continues to use the same aluminum chassis on the lower end iPhone 16s. But this year there are so many Pro features making their way down to the base models. Like on the left side of the phone, you are getting the action button now instead of the mute switch. This is user remappable, so you can now assign it to any action that you want. And on the right side of the phone, you are getting one of the flagship features for the entire lineup this year, which is the all-new camera control button, which is so interesting in so many ways. So this is an iPhone first. It sits just below the power switch. It's a new touch and capacitive button centered entirely around the camera. Whenever you press it, it will automatically open up the camera app, and when you press down again, it will snap a photo or start a video recording. But then there's some other really cool Apple magic features they built in here. When you swipe across the button, you can zoom in on whatever you're trying to take a photo of without touching the display, and a light double press on this button will allow you to see all of your different controls, and you can even adjust the exposure exclusively through this button. Not only does this look incredibly useful, I think it is going to make photos feel so much more tactile, which is something you've never really gotten on a smartphone unless you used a traditional digital camera. And it also feels like the most pro feature Apple could have designed, so I'm shocked again that it is coming to all 4 new iPhone 16 models. So why did Apple add this to every single unit this year? Well, that's because the iPhone 16 is Apple's first AI camera that can tell you about the world around you. See, when you press the camera control button on the iPhone, you can now point it at pretty much anything and ask about what you're looking at. Apple gives the example of looking at a restaurant and immediately point up the reviews and everything you would want to know before going in, which genuinely feels like a breakthrough because you've never been able to just point at something and learn about it instantly. You've always had to use your voice or type it in. Now you can just point your iPhone 16 at something and know everything you'd want to know about it. It's an exclusive AI feature that you will only be getting on the iPhone 16, although Apple has also announced that these models are of course getting all of the other suite of features that they announced with Apple Intelligence a few months ago. Later this year, the iPhone 16 will support the ability to create any image you want, including custom emojis, which is going to be so much fun. Apple Intelligence can summarize text and notifications while also helping you rewrite things. And of course, the new version of Siri is also here, something that knows you personally, has greater context, and you can even stumble over your words and Siri will still understand you. Now, to be fair, Apple is also bringing the image, text, and Siri features to last year's iPhone 15 Pro with iOS 18. However, Apple says that these features will be the fastest at about 15% quicker on the iPhone 16 series. And that's because of the super powerful new chips on the inside. We've got the A18 on the iPhone 16 series and a better A18 Pro on the iPhone 16 Pros. Although honestly, the differences between these two chips do seem to be pretty tiny, as the A18 Pro only difference is it has an extra GPU core. So if you are really into gaming or heavy graphic performance, you'll want to buy the Pros. Now, with all these announcements that Apple has made, there are so many projects and deadlines that I have this month. This is by far the busiest time of year for me, and that's actually why I partnered up with Motion, who sponsored today's video. See, Motion is like hiring your own AI executive assistant, somebody that not only knows your calendar and schedule, but also the tasks that you need to get done and the priority and order that you need to do them. Because Motion has a proprietary algorithm that is engineered to help you be more productive. With Motion, in every task that you need to get done, you assign a priority and a deadline. And as you go through adding things throughout your day, it will automatically rearrange your tasks depending on how important they actually are. Not only is it super satisfying to see it build your day around your pre-existing events, it's also nice to not actually have to think about the thing yourself. It just shows you what to do and you start working on it. Cool, but what about when your day gets interrupted by a last-minute meeting that pops up? Well, with Motion, whenever something gets added to your calendar, it automatically reschedules your day around that event, again assigning the things you need to do the most important first. Motion is simply the first tool I've used that actually feels as flexible as life. They know things are going to pop up, so rather than acting like they don't, it's built around your actual schedule. And right now, you can get an exclusive 7-day free trial of Motion when you use my link down below in the description. So a huge thank you again to Motion for sponsoring this one and for helping me actually plan my day effectively. Thank you, Motion AI, you're the GOAT. Okay, now let's get back to it. And it does seem like the A18 Pro chip will enable some exclusive Pro camera features, which I realize we haven't even talked about the actual camera improvements coming this year, of which there are a lot. Apple's calling the new main lens on both iPhone 16s their Fusion camera system, which I was a little bit confused about, so I looked into it. I think it is just a marketing term, as it's basically Apple referring to the main camera sensor being able to take a 1x photo, but also crop in on the sensor to do a 2x telephoto zoom too, bringing this feature like they did last year to the base iPhone 16s, without the need for an actual zoom lens, which is really cool. But the big upgrade on the regular 16s this year is actually the ultra-wide lens below. Apple has given it a massive jump forward with an improved f2.2 aperture for improved low light performance, and finally bringing macro photography to the base iPhones. This was previously a Pro feature. It allows you to get crazy close to your subject and just capture photos you could not have done without the feature. It has genuinely been one of my favorite iPhone features since Apple debuted it on the Pros a few years ago, and it is so cool that again they are bringing this down for everyone. And notably, every lens on all iPhone 16 models is getting a new anti-reflective coating this year, which should improve some of these things like streaks and ghosting whenever you are taking photos. Speaking of photos, every iPhone 16 can now capture 3D spatial and immersive photos. These are of course for playback on your $3,500 Apple Vision Pro headset, because Apple refuses to let us forget that they announced this product a few months ago and it does still exist. The entire iPhone 16 lineup also gets new photographic styling options, which Apple has updated in a pretty significant way this year. It seems way more intentional in how it decides to color and style the photos, and there's even a cool little slider in the Photos app now where you can edit it in post to really customize it. Plus, when you're shooting video on an iPhone 16, there's a new audio mix feature, so you can completely customize using AI if you just want the people in the scene to be heard, if you want the entire studio around you, or to be more ambient. It actually looks really, really cool, and I cannot wait to try it out. All that being said though, the iPhone 16 Pro camera system is a lot better in a number of key ways, like just the fundamental camera sensor underneath. Apple has improved that even from the 15 Pros for the best quality photos and videos you can get. And that 48 megapixel sensor has been extended now from the main camera also to the ultra wide lens. So if you are shooting photos at that 0.5x ultra wide zoom, they are going to just look night and day better on the Pros versus the regular models. The Pros also get that third telephoto zoom lens, which now on all iPhone 16 Pros is a 5x telephoto option. Video recording is also going to be a standout feature on the Pros this year, as Apple has introduced 4K 120 frames per second, which means you can get slow-mo video at the highest resolution we have ever had that just looks so good. And on the Pros, you can even attach that external hard drive if you're really serious about video to record 4K 120 ProRes video for the absolute highest quality possible. The ability to shoot night mode portraits is also exclusive to the Pros, on top of previous improvements that the Pros have, like the LiDAR sensor on the back to improve autofocus in low light, and high quality photo capture formats like Apple ProRAW. The Pro iPhones also have a completely new microphone system that Apple says greatly improves audio capture for video, but is also just likely going to help the iPhone hear you and understand what you are saying better, even for something like Siri requests. With these exclusive microphones, the Pro models can also record spatial audio now, so when you're watching content back on your Apple Vision Pro, you will be more immersed in it than with standard video. As far as the front cameras on all iPhone 16s though, there are no differences that I could find. It looks like the identical Face ID camera system to what Apple used on last year's iPhone 15 lineup, so no improvements in quality there, still 12 megapixels, 4K 60 video. In short, this is a really good year for cameras on the base 16s, but on the iPhone 16 Pros, it adds so many things that I've wanted to see for a while, including that 4K 120 video and the best possible sensor across more lenses than ever before. But setting absolutely everything I've mentioned in this video about the iPhone 16s aside, there was one change this year that I was interested in more than anything else, and that was improvements for battery life. And it seems like Apple has finally delivered, as there are improvements across every single iPhone 16 model, with the largest jumps on the Pro lineup. Using video playback as a baseline metric, the iPhone 16 will last for 2 hours longer than the iPhone 15, and the iPhone 16 Plus will last for an hour longer than the iPhone 15 Plus. And it's even better on the Pro models, as on the iPhone 16 Pro and iPhone 16 Pro Max, Apple says that video playback will be 4 hours longer on these new models when compared to last year's iPhone 15 Pros. And that's 4 additional hours on the regular Pro and 4 additional hours on the 16 Pro Max. So if you have wanted the best battery life in an iPhone, that is the 16 Pro Max at 33 hours now. And at a time where the Pro battery life has been so bad for so long, it just finally feels like Apple listened and delivered great battery improvements, not just on the base models, but seriously on the Pros, where you are spending the most money. So how expensive are all these iPhones, and what are the configuration options available? It's great to announce that the iPhone 16 starts at the exact same prices as last year, $799 for the 16 at 128 gigabytes and $899 on the iPhone 16 Plus for, again, 128 gigabytes of storage. And if you want, you can upgrade to a max of 512 gigs on these base models. Now for the Pros, honestly, good news here. There has not been a price increase. So the iPhone 16 Pro still starts at $999 for 128 gigabytes. And the larger iPhone 16 Pro Max again starts at $1199 for 256 gigabytes. And these can be configured up to 1 terabyte of storage. Yet another year where we still have not gotten a jump to 2 terabytes, although I think 1 terabyte on an iPhone is more than enough. So those are all the changes on this year's iPhone 16 and iPhone 16 Pro. Now, for most people, I think the standard 16 is going to be more than enough, especially that you're getting these Pro-like features now, including that new camera button on the side and the ultra-wide lens that shoots macro photography plus better battery life. Although for me personally, the extra $200 for the Pros are completely worth it, with the massive upgrades to camera performance there, as well as the 120 Hz screen on the front and the best battery life you can get on an iPhone. Overall, I'm really happy with the iPhone 16s. I think Apple improved all of the areas that I've had problems with, and I cannot wait to get my hands on one of these very soon. You can pre-order the iPhone 16s on Friday, September 13th, and they will be out worldwide on Friday, September 20th. So those are my thoughts for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, drop a like and hit subscribe for more on the iPhone 16. I've been Sam. I hope you're doing well. So many more videos coming. I love you so much. I gotta go. Bye-bye.